Simple sync. Let me have a look. For a simple sync, let's just implement the simple sync of this abstract. We call it DingTalk sync. We need to inherit this and above. A little slow, there are also two versions. Below, these two versions actually correspond to the data types we transmit. Then let's use SeaTunnel row directly. It's good. The latter one actually corresponds to the storage of our state. We don't need status. Then get rid of it, right? Then let's implement some corresponding methods. The first, a more important method, it's just a getPlug name. That is to say, we have to define a name for our source. Then we can call it DingTalk. Right, DingTalk. So what does this thing correspond to? Actually, we can take a look at it now. Actually, it corresponds to, when we configure this configuration file, sync, yes, what name should be given to this place? In fact, it is the name returned from this place. Then let's keep looking down. Prepare, he will pass us a config, right? This configure actually corresponds to some configuration files of your plugin. Then save it first. What about the type set input and the type of gate? Actually, these two are generally don't need to care too much about set type info. What it means is, because this is a sync, you need to write out the data type. The data you get from the engine, what is its schema? In fact, it is told to you through this thing. Then let's save it as well. Right, and then we get this row type. What about this? The following interface, in fact, it is mainly about when you actually write to the database, what is that schema of yours, right? Because, for example, Spark under these circumstances, it is needed an output schema. In fact, it is the same when we take out this input at this time, right? Then let's return to this thing. So in fact, you don't usually care too much about these two info. If we implement a simple connector, this is a core thing. We're in the sync, you need to create a writer. This is specially used to write data, right? We also need to return abstract sync writer, right? Then let's implement this. Then let's call it DingTalk writer. This writer to inherit this abstract class. He should also have two paradigms. It's not packed yet. It is also a state. One is the data we want to transmit. We see tunnel row that needs them. We don't need state void. Okay, let's take a look at the interface we need to implement. It's actually very simple. You see, only the outer layer of this writer is needed used for writing data. It stuffed us with a piece of data. We need to write out the data. Then there is close corresponding resources. That's because we're going to access DingTalk. We need a DingTalk client or server. Let's add a dependency of DingTalk first. Find a dependence. Here. Let's put its dependence in. Run it. And then we realized it in here. One of DingTalk's connectors, but I won't write it line by line here, I'll stick it directly. I wrote it myself. Wait a minute. Actually, this robot command is that we use DingTalk robots to send messages in the DingTalk group, right? It's actually very simple, only two configurations are required, one is the URL and the other is the SeaRet. And then create it, this is called depot DingTalk client, then through connector we write out the data, right? Then we're just going to build such a DingTalk client, right? Then let's go first. Then build them, because we need these two parameters.